In a chamber thick with betrayal, whispers of foreign gold threatened to sell out a nation. But when Captain Ibrahim Traoré rose, his words cut like thunder: Burkina Faso is not for sale. That day, betrayal died and a legend was born. The room was silent. I shifted nervously. Papers lay scattered on the wooden table. The air was heavy with unspoken words.
Everyone knew something was about to happen, but nobody could predict how it would end. Captain Ibrahim Traoré walked in. Calm, focused, determined. His presence alone demanded respect. Every step echoed through the chamber. He was young, but he carried the weight of a nation. Burkina Faso's destiny seemed carved into his shoulders. The meeting began. Plans were being discussed. Security, development, alliances. But beneath the surface, betrayal was brewing. A hidden agenda lurked in shadows. A few men in that room had already chosen their side. They thought they could outsmart him. They thought his youth was a weakness. They thought they could corner him politically. They thought wrong. One minister cleared his throat. "Captain, we must reconsider this path." His voice trembled slightly. Another man leaned forward, nodding. "Yes, perhaps foreign assistance is wiser than self-reliance." The word sounded harmless, but the intent was poison. Captain Traoré watched them carefully. His eyes pierced through their smiles. He already knew their game. They had been in contact with outsiders. Promises of wealth had been whispered to them. Betrayal had been planted in their hearts. Another voice joined. "Captain, without international approval, we risk isolation." A pause. Silence stretched across the table. The trap was being laid. But Captain Traoré did not flinch. He leaned back slowly. He folded his hands. And then he spoke. "Isolation," he said softly. "You fear isolation more than you fear losing our sovereignty." The room froze. His words carried fire. No one dared interrupt. "We are not here to beg," he continued. "We are not here to surrender our dignity. Those who believe our salvation lies in the hands of outsiders," he paused, staring at each face, "are the very reason Africa has remained in chains." Some men shifted uncomfortably. Sweat appeared on their foreheads. The betrayal was being exposed without names, but they knew he was speaking to them. Captain Traoré's voice grew stronger. "If you wish to sell your loyalty to foreign powers, say it openly. If you believe the future of this land belongs to Paris or Washington, speak now." Silence. Not one man answered. He stood up. His chair scraped against the floor. Every eye followed him. "Gentlemen," he said, "Burkina Faso is not for sale." The word struck like thunder. Some bowed their heads. Others clenched their jaws. The betrayers realized their plan had failed. The captain had seen through it all. He walked slowly around the table. His boots echoed with authority. He stopped behind one of the plotters. The man avoided his gaze. Traoré placed a hand on his shoulder. "History will remember where each of us stood." The man swallowed hard. His betrayal had been caught without a single accusation. Fear replaces ambition. Captain Traoré returned to the head of the table. He lifted a file. Inside were documents, evidence, proof of secret communications. He placed them on the table. Gasps filled the room. The betrayers' faces turned pale. Their scheme was exposed. "You thought I did not know?" he asked quietly. "You thought the people's trust could be sold in the dark." His voice shook the walls. "You were wrong." Guards stepped forward. The conspirators panicked. They begged for mercy. But Captain Traoré remained firm. Burkina Faso will not bow. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. The meeting ended, not in whispers, but in thunderous clarity. Betrayal had been defeated. Loyalty had triumphed. As the men were escorted out, the captain stood tall. His words echoed in every heart present. This nation belongs to its people. Some wept silently. Others clenched their fists with pride. A new fire was lit that day, the kind that no foreign hand could extinguish. Outside, the crowd waited. News had spread that a betrayal was stopped. Thousands chanted his name. Traoré. He stepped out onto the balcony. The roar of the people shook the city. He raised his fist high, a symbol of defiance, a symbol of freedom. "We will stand," he declared. "We will rise. Burkina Faso is ours and ours alone. The crowd erupted. The betrayers were forgotten. The captain's courage became legend. That night, the nation did not sleep. Fires burned in celebration. Songs filled the air. A people once divided were united once more, but far away in foreign capitals. The news was met with anger. Their pawns had failed. Their influence was crumbling. How could he resist? They asked. He is too young. He should have been easy to control. But they underestimated him. They underestimated the spirit of his people. And they underestimated history itself. Because history favors the bold. History favors those who refuse chains. History favors leaders like Ibrahim Traoré. The meeting that was meant to break him only made him stronger. The betrayal that was meant to silence him only gave him a louder voice. And the fear they tried to sow only grew into courage. That was the day his legend began. The day Burkina Faso chose sovereignty. The day betrayal was defeated. Since then, his name has traveled beyond borders. Across Africa, whispers turn into chants. Young people look to him as a symbol. If Tro can stand, so can we. Elders nodded with pride. Mothers prayed for his protection. Soldiers pledged their loyalty. He was no longer just a captain. He was embodiment of resistance. A reminder that Africa's story is not finished. A reminder that dignity is non-negotiable. That night, he met with his closest allies. They spoke of the future. They spoke of sacrifice. They spoke of unity. The road ahead will not be easy, he warned. But we must walk it with courage. Heads nodded around the room. They knew he was right. They also knew betrayal would return. Enemies would try again. But this time the people were ready. The betrayal in that meeting was a lesson, a warning, and a victory. Captain Ibrahim Traoré closed his eyes for a moment. He thought of the martyrs who came before him. Sankara, Lumumba, and Nkrumah. Their spirits walked with him. He opened his eyes. We will not fail them, he whispered. Outside the chant still roared. The people were waiting. He stepped forward into the night, into history, into destiny. The betrayers vanished into obscurity, but his name remained on every lip, in every home, in every dream. They tried to betray Captain Ibrahim Traoré, but instead, they made him unbreakable. They tried to silence him, but instead, they gave him a louder voice. They tried to sell out a nation, but instead, they awakened it. The following morning, the city was still buzzing. Radios echoed his speech. Children in schools repeated his words. Farmers in the fields smiled with new hope. A new chapter had begun. The enemies abroad panicked. They called emergency meetings. They drafted new strategies. But none of their plans matched the people's resolve. The betrayal had only fueled the revolution. In villages across Burkina Faso, elders spoke. We have not seen such courage since Sankara. Young men clenched their fists with pride. Young women raised their voices for freedom. The spirit of resistance spread like wildfire. Captain Traoré remained calm. He knew the fight was far from over. He knew more betrayals would come. But he also knew something greater. The people were awake now. And an awakened people cannot be defeated. They cannot be bribed. They cannot be silenced. They cannot be broken. They can only rise. Foreign ambassadors sent messages. Some threatened. Some begged. Some offered promises wrapped in gold. But the captain never wavered. Tell your masters, he said, Burkina Faso's destiny is not for sale. His words traveled across the continent. Leaders in other nations listened carefully. Some felt threatened. Others felt inspired. Whispers grew louder. Is Africa finally breaking free? Can sovereignty truly be defended? Will Traoré be the one to finish what Sankara started? These were no longer whispers. They became debates. His enemies feared him, but his people loved him. And love is stronger than fear. The meeting of betrayal became the birth of unity. The plotters became forgotten. But the captain became immortal in spirit. His story crossed borders. His courage became a lesson. His betrayal became his strength. And his nation became his shield.